The Nation of Yahweh presents The Unfolding Light. Today's show is brought to you by Builders of the Highway Foundation, Yahweh Life Center, Neo Jazz School of Music, Yahweh Education Centers, and the Temple of Brothers and Sisters of Goodwill. And now for your host, Dr. Lud Yisrael.
Praise Yahweh, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Nation of Yahweh's weekly teleconference, The Unfolding Light. I am your host, Dr. Lud, along with my co-host, Sister Tamar. Boca Tov, Sister.
Boca Tov, Shabbat Shalom, family.
Well, praise Yahweh, we are back, feeling real good about the work that Yahweh has blessed us to see him do, and the inheritance that he has promised us that he is delivering. Praise Yahweh. Today on Unfolding Light, we'll have Who is Yahweh by the Most Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Directly after that, we'll have a keynote message from the Master Teacher, the founder of the Nation of Yahweh, the Most Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And directly after that, we'll have the part where we all take part in unfolding the light, and we call it Power Talk. And now, without further ado, our prayer. And now for our prayer. If we will all stand and face the east with outstretched hands, O Yahweh, God of our salvation, save us, gather us together, and deliver us from this heathen, so that we may give thanks to thy holy name and glory in thy praises. Blessed be the holy name of Yahweh and Yisrael forever. O Yahweh, let them be confounded that persecute us, but let not us be confounded. Let our enemies be dismayed, but let not us be dismayed. Bring upon our enemies the day of evil, and destroy them with double destruction. O Yahweh, forgive our fathers for breaking your laws, and please forgive us for breaking your laws. Help us to never bring shame upon thy great name, nor reproach against thy works. For surely we have turned ourselves to thee, O Yahweh, trying to be upright. And as we confess our faults, please grant us protection against all of our faults. Cleanse us of our secret faults, and guide us to the best of morals. For surely our prayers and our sacrifices, our lives and our deaths, are all for thee, O Yahweh. Tefillah. Avenu Shabbat Shemayim, Yikadesh Shemeaka, Tavo Malkuterika, Yad Zerizonka, Kim Vashemayim Kain Ba'aretz, Et Lekum Kukenu, Tain Lanu Hayom, Uslat Lanu, All Kartienu, Kimosa Sol King, Gamanatnu, Lakotiem Lanu, Veal Tevienu, Lade Nisayom, King Kal Senu, Min Hara, Kilaka, Hamamlaha, Veha Givera, Veha Tefieret, Leolame, Olamin Sila. We thank thee, O Yahweh, O living and eternal King, who has so mercifully restored our souls within us. So let everything that has breath praise Yahweh.
Remember that this is the morning of the third day, and I shall rise again. I am the resurrection. All of prophecy tells you that I shall rise again. It's all about that. Luke chapter 2, verse 34. No doubt about it. Again, I love you forever, bless you forever. I remind you once again, my associates are children of the light. That just brings laughter to my heart, to my soul, to realize that at last I have those of you that love peace. And I only want to be in the presence of those of you that love peace. I love you forever. Shalom Aleichem.
So who is Yahweh? Yahweh is a name that you should know, because it's the duty of the Son of God to proclaim his Father's name. And here you have a whole bunch of people going to church, 400,000 churches, and they don't know the name of the Father. They say such silly things like, Father, God, help me. Both of them titles. Father is a title, God is a title. Who's going to answer to that? The purpose of the coming of the Son is to reveal the name of the Father. That's who he prayed to, our Father, and he called his name. He said, hallowed be, holy be thy name. How can it be holy to you and you don't know it? Interesting, isn't it? There are a lot more interesting questions than that about that situation. But when you begin to read your Bible, as I call this to your attention, you will discover from the Old Testament of Genesis all the way through Revelations, it's all about the name of the Father. It's all about his name. But somebody got you calling some other kind of name, other than the Father's name. And you don't know his name. And unless you learn his name, then you're never going to move from poverty to riches. And if you don't come into the knowledge of the name. Haven't you ever wondered why it is that you have the same God, have the same churches, and the same names that white people have? I mean, have you noticed? You do. Our people have the same, right? Isn't it strange how God always answers white people's prayers? And black folks' prayers don't seem to be the same magnitude. You know, you say, well, I get my prayers answered. Well, why don't you ever get answered to be the ruler? I mean, you know, my people are always on their knees in front of white people asking white people to let them be accepted. Why do you need to ask white people for acceptance? Why don't you just ask God? Doesn't your God have enough power to make you accepted? Why can't you be the people that everybody else wants to be among? Why are you always running after somebody else to be among them? What's wrong with your God? Why do you have to go around always on your knees with your hat in your hand begging for a job from white people? Why don't your God just give you some jobs? Oh, I have to ask you some serious questions, because white people move from poverty to riches every day. Huh? They come from Russia, they come from Europe, they come from England, they come from all over the world with nothing on the ship. Come and get in your neighborhood. Come with a buggy and a basket and a wagon and push it around in your neighborhood and move from poverty to riches out of your pocket. You live in the neighborhood and stay poor and just pray all the time. You prayed enough to rule all the world. So who is Yahweh? Yahweh is the God of the Bible. He's the God of the Hebrews. In the beginning, Yahweh created the heavens and the earth. Yahweh is the man that beat up on Pharaoh. Y'all remember how he put plagues in Egypt? That was Yahweh did that. Yahweh is the one that when Pharaoh got real sassy, he drowned him in the Red Sea. That's Yahweh who did it. Yahweh is the man that when Daniel refused to bow down to another nation and quit facing the east and praying, when he refused to stop praying to his God, which was Yahweh, they said, well, we're going to put you in the lion's den and starve them. Threw him in the lion's den. Yahweh locked the jaws of the lion. Lions could do him no harm. Rulers got scared. Came and got Daniel out and made him a ruler. Right? I just want you to know who Yahweh is. He made the sun, the moon, and the stars, all what you see and haven't seen. Okay. So who is Yahweh Ben Yahweh? I am his son. I am his son. That's who I am. I am the son of Yahweh. I don't care who else is the son or who else they are. It makes me no difference. I'm not here tonight concerning myself with who is the son of who. I'm the son of Yahweh. I have to tell you who I am. Yahweh is my father. I am his son. What makes me his son? What makes me Yahweh's son is I do not have a will outside of his. I have no thoughts, no ideas, and no program outside of Yahweh. You'll find that all that I ever do, all that I've ever done, and all that I'm ever going to do is found right in the Bible, and it's traced right to his will. No exception. I take no credit for all that I have built. It's all in his name. Yahweh. That's one of the things that make me his son. Also, I have no difference in his word. I only speak his words. Even the words I've spoken to you thus far, the principles of those words are all in the Bible. Every single one of them is found in the Bible. No exceptions. So I walk as he says walk. I talk as he says talk. I act as he says act. I do whatever he says do. I have no idea of doing it any other way. Those are the things that makes me his son. I obey his laws, his statutes, his judgments, his commandments. That's why I'm successful. He said in his holy word that if I obey his laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments, that he would make everything, all the works of my hand would prosper. So all the works of my hands, it's prospering. I'm telling you why. Now, what about you? You might say, well, if you're the son of Yahweh, can I be? Of course you can. Of course you can be the sons of Yahweh. Every one of you can be. Every one of you can be the daughters of Yahweh. All you have to do is like I do. Obey his will, just like I do. You automatically become. You believe on his name, then you have eternal life. There's no other name under heaven that you can be saved in other than God who created it. You can't be saved in no name but the name of the one who created everything. And he gave his son a name higher than all the angels in heaven. What's the name higher than all the names that the angels could possibly have? The Father's name. There can be no name higher than the Creator's. So the son has to come in his father's name. Just like if your name is Davis, then your father was named Davis. If your name is Smith, your father's name was Smith. My name is Yahweh, so my father's name is Yahweh. That's logical.
Know and rest your mind assured. Our eyes have seen his works before. And until my last days, 'tis Yahweh I will praise. Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. I certainly like to thank the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh for coming to us and teaching us who is Yahweh as no one else ever could do. Praise Yahweh. Also, I want to thank the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh for teaching us our true history, which used to be the world's best kept secret. Praise Yahweh. And now a brief bio on the master teacher, the founder of the nation of Yahweh, the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Yahweh Ben Yahweh came to Miami, Florida alone in 1979 to become the spiritual leader and founder of the nation of Yahweh. Although he took a vow of poverty that same year, within 7 years, he guided the nation and those who followed his teachings and principles to amass an economic empire in the greater Miami area and throughout the United States worth over $250 million. Under his direction, the nation of Yahweh has grown to encompass disciples, followers, believers, and supporters in thousands of cities across the United States of America and indeed throughout the four corners of the earth. The University of Yahweh, for which he has established the curriculum and for which he has received great acclaim in educational excellence, currently has locations across the United States. The moral teachings of Yahweh Ben Yahweh is bringing about a change in the lives of individuals and causing them to take a different approach to life. This approach is based on the scripture which reads, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Yahweh Ben Yahweh continues to give. That which he is given cannot be measured in monetary wealth. Yahweh Ben Yahweh is giving the world the keys to success in life politically, educationally, economically, socially, and spiritually. And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, the architect of the universe, the blessed and only potentate, the founder of the nation of Yahweh. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
I'm building my kingdom with you who voluntarily receive me. Behold, I stand at your door and I knock. Some of you are sitting back in there, got your door all locked up, hollering out, who is it? I don't mind telling you, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And I'm calling out and saying, there's a terrible storm, it's a severe storm headed your way. And it's called the fall of Satan. And this is the time of Jacob's trouble. When they start putting me on TV now, boy, you'll know it's the end. I'm serious. Yeah, I mean, you'll know the devil has capitulated to my sovereignty. When he start putting me on now, I mean, I'm unrelenting in my faithful witnessing to Yahweh. I do not address a devil's question about a devil. I just witness Yahweh. That's all I do. And in verse 7, the only one who talked to Satan is Yahweh. That's me. Why? Because my sheep, my sons, don't know who Satan is. He looked just like you. I mean, he's your same color. He wears a robe. He jumps up and down and hollers and screams. Sometimes they holler Yahweh louder than anybody else. It's the truth. I mean, then you look around and you don't see the nigga. If you ever zeroed in on the nigga, then you'll say, wonder what happened to him. That brother, you see, he never was your brother if you were righteous. Now, if you are an unholy person, you're asking truly about your brother. That's the truth. Where is my brother? If he's unholy, you just ranked yourself with me. I said, you can't sleep and hide and slip around here anymore. You just ranked yourself, boy. Back to Revelation 21. I'm going to a point. Talking about this great city in verse 10, holy Jerusalem descending out of heaven from Yahweh. In verse 11, it has the glory of Yahweh and a light that's just unlike any other light. It's like a jasper stone. And the light of this great city is like clear as crystal. These are things that you don't understand the mystery of. You read it, but you don't understand the mystery of this. Oh, I know you don't. You can claim you do. See, anybody who understands this will never leave it and will go through whatever test to get into it. I mean, who would ever leave a great city, a holy city, directly from the God of heaven, Yahweh, and have good sense? But it's clear as a crystal, and a wall great and high. 12 gates. And at the gates, 12 angels. And names written there on those 12 gates, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Now, you know it can't be the Jews, because they don't claim no tribe. They just Israelis. Of course, we know all about where they come from. We know exactly who they are. I mean, we got that down to the T. And since I'm here, they don't even fool with me talking about it, because see, I'll say Kazah in a minute. Kazah, you know. I'll say Sephardim in a minute. You know, that'll square them right on out. Right on back off into silence. Yeah. See, I sure know. I'm here to tell you that the so-called black man of America is one of these 12 tribes. And all 12 tribes are black. I mean, it's not that black's the issue, it's just that's the way it is. You understand the mystery? You know, I'm not pushing black supremacy, I'm just pushing supremacy. You know, that's what I believe in. I am supreme. Now, just the fact that I'm not white, that's tough, you know, see? That's too bad for them. Because see, I told them in the court, they asked me that question, and I said, yes, I'm supreme over everybody, all of y'all collectively together. Your mind can't come up to mine. You got that right. That's the record. It's a matter of the record on the federal court for the government. When I testified, they said, well, I understand that you are a genius. I said, no. No, I'm not a genius. They said, oh yeah, right, you are the genius. I said, no, that's right. I am the genius. Right. They just wanted to have it in the record. Because see, there was no argument about it. The one that asked me the question was supposed to be my opponents. And they're the ones that got all this good stuff in the record. Because I was testifying to reality. I'm not a genius, I am the genius. You got that right. Y'all are right now. I have mind power over every brain collective on the planet. You want a clear-cut logical proof right now? I can give you a logical proof that my mind is superior to all minds combined. See, all the minds combined have been unable to bring peace on the earth. And I'm here bringing peace. I've established peace in Yahweh University, and I have peace in my kingdom. I said, the United Nations, where all the nations sitting down in New York, can't bring peace. And they have all the weapons formed by the hands of man, and use them too, and cannot bring peace. I've taken all weapons from us and established peace. Now, I still have a little one or two that mumble, but they mumble under their breath. You know, it's a cool mumble. Because, see, if you mumble, you're not satisfied. So I'm going to put you out of here. That's all. Hey, you don't have to stay here and be unhappy. Don't be telling no lie about you get in, can't get out. It's can you get in? See, that's the real question. It really is the question. Can you get in here? And then once you get in, see, your problem has just begun. Yeah, can you stay in here? Yes. And see, all the good that you've done up until today, it's not enough. I've come to bear witness on the earth, inviting all good people. Come, follow me. All I'm going to teach you is how to be good. It's one thing you've never learned in your life, how to be holy. Now, in Matthew 5:48, let's turn to that. Read.
Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect.
See, the word didn't say try to be. It didn't say you ought to be. It didn't say there are excuses you can make for not being. Now here we are asked to be something that we've never been taught how to be. No school you have ever attended teaches you how to qualify to be with your Father, which is in heaven. No school you've attended in all of your life has taught you and qualified you to enter this great city, Holy Jerusalem, that is to descend out of heaven, owned by Yahweh, given to you from Yahweh himself. And notice the Arab's name is not written in heaven. Only 12 names get that honor.
Know and rest your mind assured. Our eyes have seen his works before. And until my last days, 'tis Yahweh I will praise. Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. I certainly like to thank the Most High, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, for bringing us a message that is just, it's just the logical understanding of there's so many things that was taken away from us in slavery, and there's so many things that we have to be retaught about reality. Yahweh is creating peace. Yahweh has a city that we inherit. How do we qualify? Well, Satan never teaches how to qualify to live in that city. Matter of fact, all Satan teaches to do is to trust in him and not qualify. Like it's not gonna happen. But Yahweh is bearing witness. The Most Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh is bearing witness that, oh, it's coming. Will you be able to move into the city? We have that and a lot more to talk about when we talk about qualifications and how Yahweh established peace. And you have to be peaceful to live in the city. But we do have a word from our sponsor. Right after this, we'll be back with Power Talk. Praise Yahweh. Shalom Aleichem, family. This YouTube channel needs your help. As you know, good works in this world will never be monetized. So I'm asking that the supporters, followers, true believers, and disciples of Yahweh to help this channel to continue to publish the good works and the fame of the Most High, Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. How much do you love Yahweh? Put your money where your heart is and be blessed. And now, your video.
What do all these people have in common besides a beautiful smile, healthy teeth, and gums? They all use Zadi toothpaste. Zadi toothpaste is made with all natural ingredients. Zadi toothpaste is fortified with moringa and baking soda. Zadi toothpaste is suds-free, making it an excellent choice for kids. All natural, fortified, and suds-free. Get yours today at noystore.com.
Praises unto Yahweh and Yahweh Ben Yahweh. From the nation of Yahweh,
YahwehRadio.com.
So glad I'm with Yahweh.
YahwehRadio.com.
step on into
YahwehRadio.com.
Let nobody
Turn me away from Yahweh.
YahwehRadio.com.
Yahweh Ben Yahweh is a great God and a great King. Oh,
YahwehRadio.com.
Neo Jazz School of Music is an educational institute whose primary purpose is to rescue our children through music and the arts. Music and arts programs are scientifically proven to expand the intellectual capacity of the student in areas such as math and science. In addition, students of music and the arts make for well-rounded, productive members of society, no matter what career path they choose. Neo Jazz School of Music currently provides education and training to community youth in the greater New Orleans area.
Get it up! Yay! Oh my gosh, we accomplished life!
Yeah.
Yahweh Virtual University has completed its beta phase. We are so thankful to Yahweh for all of our supporters because we could not have done it without you. We are excited to say that our beta phase was a true success. Those that participated in our beta testing enjoyed self-paced and interactive learning online, live online classes with our YVU teachers, assistance with structuring and setting up their homeschool. Our students had so much fun learning with their classmates, and they enjoyed daily homework and so much more. During our beta phase, we gathered useful information and feedback from all of you. According to the needs of our children and our nation as a whole, we received a large amount of requests for online learning to support children between the ages of 8 and 15, as well as online classes for parents and adults. We at Yahweh Virtual University heard you loud and clear. In order to provide these much needed requests, and because we are a small team, we have paused our online classes for now and are back in our building phase. Again, we are truly thankful to all of our supporters, and we want you to know that we are taking this duty to rescue our future very seriously. Please visit our website for more updates and be blessed. Praise Yahweh forever.
Praise Yahweh. Well, there's things going on, and if you ever ask yourself, what can I do to help? Well, you just heard a lot of things you can do to help. You know, the devil won't monetize the works that we're doing. And so we depend on Yahweh's supporters, Yahweh followers, Yahweh true believers, and Yahweh disciples to support these works accordingly to the way Yahweh has blessed you. That's how you can do, that's how you can help. And there's so many other things that we can do, that we have to do for our salvation. You know, our city is ready, and Yahweh is ready to deliver on his side of the promise. There's some things that have a transition that has to be made first. And that transition is, of course, Yahweh's job is to rid this planet of the devil. Our job is to qualify ourselves to live in that city. And you can't qualify yourself by being unrighteous and immoral. Do you know that to qualify to live in the city can be summed up into one word? Ethics. Ethics is the sum total of the law, statute, judgments, commandments, and the action thereof in executing those laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments. And we know, we've been taught that in order for us to even know what we don't know, we have to study, to show ourselves approved. Now, Sister Tamar, you have a word over here.
Wow. And what a message by the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. He always gives us a clear and concise perspective on what it means to be right and righteous. And so as you were speaking, the word qualify just kind of, it resonated with me too. And just looking at a basic definition from dictionary.com, qualify means to provide with proper or necessary skills, knowledge, credentials, etc. Make competent. So qualify, and this make competent piece is what's really, I mean, of course, all of it is so exciting, but the make competent is a reality that we've been subject to the rule, of the incompetent one.
Exactly.
We've been dealing with and living with a system built and designed by an incompetent
mind and with incompetent intentions to subjugate and to live off of the labor or the energy of Yahweh's chosen people. That's the reality of this system, how it's designed. Now, this system spread all over the world, but these systems was designed here in America as it relates to subjecting the slave, and then the slave that we gave a mental thought of freedom without actually liberating them from their captors. You know, freedom without liberation, you can't have freedom without the liberation part, but that's another subject. The subject is being able to qualify. So what Yahweh Ben Yahweh taught us today in this message is that nowhere in your education systems were you taught how to qualify to live in the holy city, New Jerusalem. See, you have to sanctify yourself, and we don't understand that word. We think that word is associated with one day a week where we stay at home and watch football. You know, the Shabbat or the Sabbath or the Lord's Day,
as they call it,
all the way down to where you're supposed to be off work and enjoying your life. But what does sanctify yourself mean? To be made holy. Holy means something. Those are words that if you're not engaging in those activities, then how are you keeping the Sabbath or the Shabbat? How are you keeping that when you're not engaged in the activities that you're supposed to focus on? See, so we just hadn't been taught. There's no criticism. We hadn't been taught that. Only one came to us to teach us this is Yahweh in the flesh. Now, consider that. We can talk all about, whatever you want to talk about. But the only person who taught the so-called African-American, the so-called black man, the so-called colored Negro, the only one taught him his true God is Yahweh. And his true culture is ethics, righteousness is the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Now, chew on that for a second. No other leader. Go ahead, you were about to say.
Well, this is it. This is really important because ethics are based on a set of principles.
Yes.
And so we encourage everyone to take that word ethics and dive deeper into it. And I want to invite you also to read Revelations chapter 21, where this whole teaching comes from. It's about Holy Jerusalem. And so what we're speaking of is being qualified to live in that city.
In that city.
And one important factor is that Yahweh will live in that city.
Yahweh have his place in the
Yahweh has his place in the city. And so there's some elements about this formula that we have to like begin to self-identify with when we think about what does it mean to live in a place where Yahweh lives, but we have to be qualified.
You have to be qualified.
So from there, I want to understand what are the steps, the necessary 1, 2, 3s.
Well, the one is always starting with 2 Timothy 2:15.
Yes, sir.
You study to show thyself approved unto who?
Yahweh.
A workman. So you have to work that need not be ashamed. You're not being ashamed that you ask what's in this food before you eat it. You sure don't be ashamed to ask that question. Rightly dividing it, because if it's some crawfish etouffee, you're like, no, thank you. Because you know what's in it and you can rightly divide.
That's not good for me.
That the word of truth is Yahweh say, that's not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know what's in there before you know that to steer away from it, to abstain from it, to not touch it.
And so that definitely leads me back to this idea of competent, because study is a critical factor in becoming competent. Competent in its definition is having suitable or sufficient skills.
Sufficient skills. Well, we heard that before.
I mean,
our Father had taught us to have sufficient.
It all ties back together. Knowledge, having sufficient skill, knowledge, experience, etc., for some purpose. For some purpose.
Purpose to move into the holy, righteous city.
And what that makes me think about is, there are a lot of people who go to work day in and day out, and the sole purpose or venture in that is paying their bills and surviving. But we understand the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh has taught us that we were all created for some divine purpose. An unfulfilled purpose leads to a hopeless, helpless life.
Wow, an unfulfilled purpose. You can see that in people having jobs that are paying them a whole lot of money, and they just can't buy happiness with that money. They can't buy love with that money.
And in general, in this society, we're taught to go get education or continue education in a certain area for the purpose of obtaining money.
Right. And not even talking about wealth, it's just money.
And you lead to that situation where you have a large amount of debt because they don't make those industries for you to participate in them and be successful.
Right.
They make them where certain people can. But the reality of it is you have to be a part of a group, a club, a select, or whatever to gain the highest level of access to their industries. But the reality is Yahweh has created a city. And when you're connected to your divine purpose, you see yourself playing a role, an essential role in the existence of that city. So studying yourself, understanding what level of skill you have available within you that can connect to and be a part of a divine city. Holy Jerusalem is like the path towards that liberation that you were speaking of.
Absolutely. And don't ever forget that in this city, there will be a community of a family of people that are allowed, only a select group family. He said there'll be 12 gates, there'll be angels at the gates, and the gates will have the name on it of the 12 tribes. So this city is built for us by Yahweh, who qualify ourselves, who become competent, who study to show yourself approved to Yahweh. See, dummies can't live in New Jerusalem, and I'm not talking about dummies. I'm not judging dummies.
Are you talking about the people that they make those books for?
Yeah, those books for, like doing carpentry for dummies. Well, see, if you read the book, then you won't be a dummy anymore.
That's right.
If you don't know how to do carpentry and you desire to do a DIY, do-it-yourself project, and you begin to study, you'll do it right. That's an allegory of studying and being righteous. Just a simple reading a book, doing your research, knowing that if you're doing some framing, there's certain parameters that you need to do this framing in so that it'll work in the end results. You'll have a structure that'll stand. That's all it is. It's just studying to show yourself approved that you know how to frame a wall that will stand. That's allegorical of building yourself to be able to qualify to inhabit a city that Yahweh built exclusively for you. We won't have to worry about who's in the city. We don't have to worry about there's suspicious characters walking around in our neighborhood. We won't have to worry about theft and crime in this city. There'll be no crime in this city.
Well, we understand everyone there is qualified to be there. And what's back to what I found exciting about the definition of qualified and competent is that in qualified, it said that you had necessary skills and knowledge. But when you looked at competence, it said that you had to be sufficiently skilled. So these two things relate back to the other. And the idea of study and taking on the knowledge of the divine mind of the Most High God, Yahweh, is the perfect pathway towards being qualified to enter New Jerusalem. And Yahweh Ben Yahweh has came laying the foundation for us to gain that understanding free of charge. He didn't ask you to pay for this knowledge. Every elite university that you have to attend, you have to pay an astronomical amount of money to participate.
Be in debt for the next 30 years.
But look at this. We have the Most High Mind who chose us to come deliver this knowledge to us free of charge. The only requirement is that we study and inculcate this information and serve Yahweh.
That's it. That's all we have. That's all we have to do. And the thing about it is that Yahweh Ben Yahweh talked about toward the beginning of the message, not maybe to message today, but of this series about New Jerusalem in the Revelation 21 and 12. It also, Yahweh Ben Yahweh also spoke of not everybody wants to live in that city. So now, we know misery love company. We were raised up hearing that term, misery love company. What does that mean, mama? What does that mean, daddy? That means that if somebody's in misery, they want somebody else to be in misery with them. If somebody's in hell, they will invite you to be in hell with them. We finna go to hell. We finna go to this nightclub where people are getting killed left and right. But we're inviting you to this hell so that we can have some fun. There's places, New Orleans is now the murder capital of the country and indeed the world again, but that don't stop people from wanting to indulge in these situations, even though every time they get together, somebody end up being murdered. So that's showing you that those people who invite you, come on, go to this party, come on, go to this club, they're inviting you to come on, to let's go have some fun in hell, while you can be taking that time to study to qualify yourself for what's to come. You see, people don't have faith in what's to come. It's like, live every day like it's your last day, because they're going to murder us in this neighborhood, in the hood, or whatever.
And that's essentially the lifestyle that's being promoted.
Yes.
Is for you to live every day as if it was your last. There's no conservation of resource mindset being
not at all.
We're taught to overwhelmingly and exceedingly consume resources for the reason of personal indulgence.
We're the biggest consumer group on the planet, and we put our money to nothing collectively productive for our people. That's the reality. When you say nothing on a grand scale of the microcosmic nation of Yahweh, nothing of that sort. But we're getting better. Sister Tamar has been doing a lot of extensive traveling around the country, visiting people that are establishing and putting together co-ops and beginning to cooperate and pool resources. Cooperative business is pooling your resources together. And a lot of times your only resource is my labor. I got to be an owner worker. I got to work there for it to be successful. And so I have to work somewhere. Why not work in my own business with other people who own the business and become prosperous that way, to where my diligent work, my making sure I pick up every piece of paper and making sure to look and to feel that I don't curse anybody out and, I don't be mean to anybody, because at the end of the year, I benefit from any profits that's made in this business that I'm personally responsible for seeing to.
Well, one thing that I can identify in visiting and connecting with the cooperative landscape, some very big pieces of the puzzle need to be present for them to be successful. One is the relationship. Yahweh Ben Yahweh has actually come giving us a relationship one with another by connecting to the true source of our lineage, Yahweh. We are already in relation one with another, and Yahweh Ben Yahweh has given us a practice to exercise goodness, as you were just describing, goodness to each other. So that good relationship is a critical factor in the success of any cooperative or collaborative endeavor. The other factor that I notice is having a set of principles by which you all are governed by. If you all in a collaborative or collective endeavor work on having a shared set of principles, that gives that landscape of how people are ruled, judged, and we measure success based off how we practice those principles. So those are just two pieces that I wanted to lift out today, because what I've identified in our works, in our walk with Yahweh, is that Yahweh Ben Yahweh has come setting the foundation for us to govern ourselves in a collective manner. He understood those elements very clearly by giving us our motto: one God, one mind, one love, and one action. And so what I've seen is a replication of these principles in practice. And so I encourage us as a family to really lean into the understanding that Yahweh Ben Yahweh has given us through our motto, and know that that is the beginning to a model for becoming collective in our efforts.
Wow. What you were saying is pretty much the antithesis of what Yahweh Ben Yahweh talked about as far as establishing. He's the only one who has established peace. And when we look up the word establish is a very deep word, but the very first, it's a verb and it's used with an object. Establish is used with an object. Establish peace. But the first definition is to found, institute, build, or bring into being on a firm or stable basis. When you just consider, we don't even have to go in to any of the other definitions as it goes, because it goes on 8 definitions, but and this is just dictionary.com online. And to found is the root word of foundation. That's laying a foundation. To institute is something that is put in practice. Build, we just talked about building a wall and building the right specs. Building something or bringing into being. Yahweh brought us into being.
Yes, he did.
Yahweh resurrected us back into being in the flesh, embodied in the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And now he has established a firm and stable, he established that foundation for us in the law, statute, judgments, commandments, and the service of Yahweh, that all of the promises that Yahweh, this is the promises of Yahweh. This ain't the promises of any of them other false gods, any of those made up gods, all those false names. This is what Yahweh promised us. Yahweh came in the flesh, in the body of Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and established to us this stable foundation of knowledge, knowing that our inheritance, knowing that all of the promises of Yahweh shall come to pass. We see all of the destructive things that people talk about, Armageddon and the apocalypse, all of that stuff is going on right now. And it's openly, obviously, Yahweh put it out there, all in secret, is out in the streets now, parading down the street. You were about to say?
Well, it's just amazing how Yahweh Ben Yahweh forethought establishing a foundation, because as we were speaking earlier about skill, that's another critical factor in the establishment of a collective business, collective cities. They have to have people that are sufficiently skilled to provide a need, to meet a need or necessity of that city.
Well, number two in establish is to install or settle in a position, place, business, etc. So business is part of the establishment. Yahweh established that there's much business in Judah, and that we are an industrious people. And so that encouraged us to begin to establish businesses of the nation of Yahweh. He said everybody should have their own business. And we was raised up with the term, mind your own business, mind your business. But then that's just that righteous allegory. If you mind your business, you will have business to mind.
That's right. And I want to give a shout out to a new business coming up in Riviera Beach, Florida. Yes, really? Vegan 504 out here. There's wait, I may have to. 504. I'm sorry. I invite the owners. My apologies. On the line to come online and tell us about New Orleans is on my mind today, but we're going to open it up for a power.
It is that time?
Yes, sir. So we're going to invite our family to join us in conversation today. Our Father's given us so much, and it's just.
Do you qualify?
How
do you want to qualify?
Do we want to qualify? So I'm just excited about what Yahweh Ben Yahweh has given us and the foundation that he's laid for us, so that we're able to exist no matter the circumstances that are going on around us.
You know, there's a lot of people that like to talk negative about things. And, you know, those people, we can't really even trust them, because there's always a negative and there's always a positive side to the reality of life, you know, protons, electrons, ions, you know, there's all this. So if you're only going to discuss something negative, that's hearsay, and you won't discuss something that is proven to be through works, through words, through all kinds of evidence, then you're one of those people who are inviting us to hell, to listen to the hell side, as opposed to inviting us to study to show ourselves approved and see what's really there. So all I said that to say is that, you know, there's many people that wants to cast the nation of Yahweh and the name of our Father out as evil, but you judge him by his works. Look at us. Look at what we're doing. Are we doing evil? Are we talking about evil? Are we talking about excluding people?
We're talking about being ethical, righteous, and being able to qualify to live in a city of peace.
That's created for us, not for everybody on the planet. I mean, I didn't create the city for me, but it was certainly created for me. And so I thank the creator of it. And I can't be, well, I got to stay in hell because you leaving everybody else out. No, thank you.
Well, we want to invite our family to join us in conversation. We do have our sister Kagith on the line. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, we're going to find out the truth now.
The truth is upon us, Sister Kagith Boca Tov, and welcome to Power Talk.
And welcome to Power Talk.
Boca Tov, Shabbat Shalom, and praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh, Toda. Wonderful class, as always looking forward to my mornings with the unfolding light. It's my routine. But praise Yahweh. Just wanted to comment on Vegan 27. Really exciting. We are going to be bringing Yahweh's Vegan 27. It's not just Vegan 27. It's Yahweh's Vegan 27, and it is going to be in the Palm Beach and South Florida community. It's coming very, very soon. And our goal and mission is, of course, to publish the name of Yahweh, but also to feed the people, to change the diet of the people and direct everybody back to the Garden of Eden through Yahweh's divine dietary laws and having the fruit and the tender herb as our meat again. We are going to be educating the people that you don't need meat to eat. There are really some people there who believe when you talk about eating food, it's meat. They can't see a meal without meat there. And after having the vegan chili entered in the contest, and we tied for first place out of 10 contestants, that was an eye-opener. That people, they would love to eat healthy, and they would love to eat clean if they are taught on how. They didn't even know how to make a vegan chili. And it's just putting fruits, not fruits, but vegetables, spices, and herbs together in a way that it's going to be flavorful. And we tied for first place, and there were so many people who was like, oh, this, I wouldn't need to eat meat. And that's what we want to do. We want to provide healthy and safe alternatives to other vegan options out there as well. Because with, veganism as it grows, there's a space for it now. And of course, wherever the market is or money is, the devil is there too, right? So you even got to be careful with a lot of the vegan foods and brands. And we just want to be on the scene and put Yahweh in the midst of it all so that it stays and remains and becomes righteous. So praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. Well, I tell you what, Vegan 27 is the place to visit when you're in South Florida around the Riviera Beach.
Soon to come. So we can't wait for those announcements of Vegan 27.
And as it relates to that chili contest.
It looks so good.
It looks so good in pictures. But, most people, and when I say most people, you know how we say euphemistically, I hadn't did a poll and did my research, but I'm just saying it, generally don't know how to prepare vegan food. They have restaurants that have great poison food. I mean, it's the most delicious poison food in the world. And then they say we have vegan options, and the vegan options taste like cardboard. It's like, what, y'all? Vegans don't like seasoning. Vegans don't like food tasting good. So we just throw them some lettuce in a bowl and say, here's the vegan option. And so it'll be so refreshing to go to places that actually put some love,
intention
into the food, and it shows by how good a wholesome Yahweh diet could be. It just, the possibilities is just great.
Well, that's an attribute of Supreme. I thank Yahweh for those who think in the mindset of Supreme, because when you study the mind of Yahweh Ben Yahweh, he teaches you to be in the highest of rank and in authority, paramount. So what we do is we put our best efforts towards whatever we do being the best. And that's a part of that ethical character that we gain from our Father Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
And being the best is only a physical attribute of Yahweh being supreme and us being taught that we have to be perfect. You know, Yahweh is perfection. Yahweh's diet is perfection. Yahweh's diet, well, understand the eternal life situation. Yahweh gives us eternal life for believing and trusting in Yahweh. The only destruction and death is when you trust in the devil and you trust in his science and you trust in his stuff and you go along those ways. That leads to destruction. But Yahweh leads to life, and life is generational life where we won't die, be a dead people again. You know, the physical life ain't the situation because we live on through our progeny. We have eternal life through our progeny. So, you know, understand that the more life that you can give, imagine living to where you can teach your great grandchildren of Yahweh. We did it in the past, and we didn't have health care. We didn't have Obamacare, and we lived a lot longer. What's up with that?
It was the food.
It was the food. Was it the food?
and definitely
the food today.
It is indeed the food today. We do have a caller with their line.
We'll go on.
Boca Tov family, and welcome to Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom. Boker Tov. Praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh, who is Yahweh in the flesh as the Son. Sisters Abia Bira, joining from Holiday, renamed Holy Day, Florida. And I'm just excited about today's message and Power Talk. And I'd like to offer, along with what Sister Tamar was sharing on qualified, and I like to offer the Greek and Hebrew words for qualify. And you have to go to the synonym, which she mentioned, which is competent. And the Greek word is under the Greek 1840. And I'm not going to try and pronounce it right now, but it's under the Greek 1840. And it means to be eminently able to have full strength. And when you go to the Hebrew word, there's several. And the one I selected was the Hebrew 3027, which is Yod. And Yod means, from the Strong's Concordance, a primitive word, a hand. The open one indicating power means direction, etc. In distinction from 3709, the closed one, used as a noun or adverb, etc., in a great variety of applications, both literally and figuratively, both proximate and remote. And it also means able, etc. And that's powerful because to be able to accomplish what we already have, which is competence, because Yahweh Ben Yahweh tells that he didn't come to give it to us, but he came to reveal it to us that we are able, we are competent. We were just killed. And we know the Hebrew alphabet, each Hebrew character has a positive and negative connotation. And we were using the negative side of ourselves. And now it's time to come into the competent side of ourselves. And I'd like to end with the scripture in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25 as a summary, because 2 Timothy 2:15 is what governs our behavior, and that is what's going to bring us back into our true self, which is Yahweh's self. And 1 Corinthians 9:25 reads, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible." So we have to be different from what this enemy has been using. His systems are incorrupt, they're immoral, they're wicked. And as Brother Lou mentioned, we can sum it up in one word, and that's ethics. Ethics is wide open for us as the Godhead to come in and take over and teach, because it's not being promoted at all. So that's our solution, is to become holy like we are, so that Yahweh Ben Yahweh can use us to our full potential. Praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Praise Yahweh. I thank Yahweh for giving you the wisdom to share with our family in all these areas. You're absolutely right. It's just that time for us to cleanse our bodies and cleanse our minds at the same time. Our diet of ingesting physical food and our diet of ingesting mental food, we have to have that tree of life diet where we're not ingesting the devil's meat, the devil's philosophies, because that's what the so-called proverbial apple was all about. Eating the apple was eating the
fruit
philosophy
from the tree of his knowledge
of good and evil. Because
evil knowledge.
Yes, there was evil knowledge inside that apple. It was worms in it. And we sound like we have another caller.
We do have a caller with their line unmuted. I guess if the audio situation is cooperating, you are now live on Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Coming through loud and clear. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh, family. Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh, our Messiah, our Savior, and our Deliverer. Such a wonderful class, family. Such a wonderful class. I just wanted to share Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. It says here, because I listened to a video of Yahweh Ben Yahweh that stated that death is the absence of grace. And it was emphasized so intensely by our Father that death is the absence of grace. So this scripture just states here, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that none of yourselves, it is the gift of God Yahweh, not of works, lest any man should boast. Now, family, this is so powerful when you think about it. In other words, none of us are supposed to be as if we know all. All of us have to work together. For instance, our wonderful vegan restaurant that we have now. We should be working towards developing a system among ourselves where, let's say, products or foods or seasonings are not able to be gotten from other sources outside of ourselves. We should be, of course, gradually working towards producing everything we need from within our nation to support our store. Do we need beans? Who among us within our nation can provide certain beans? All different types, seasonings, herbs. All of those things are things that we can grow. We can grow it, we can develop it, as long as we work powerfully within ourselves as a nation. Because, family, other nations do it. Other nations do it. I watched a video of a store, and see, our uniqueness is what's going to be our power. We have to accept our uniqueness. So other nations, there's Amish, they have stores where they get all of their resources, everything, almost everything within their store from themselves, because they are producing. So when we understand that it's the grace of Yahweh that has us in his hands, and have the faith that Yahweh will provide all of our needs, and it's his works within our hands every day, we will be able to sustain and withstand the end of the enemy. Praise Yahweh, family. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Praise Yahweh. We thank Yahweh for giving you the wisdom to share, the will to share, and just, yes, it is time, just lifting that out, that we all need to be thinking about the areas that we are sufficiently skilled as a way of owning our work. It is a movement now today where people are pushing and funding worker-owned cooperatives. And so my journey is to help us get into the practice as a people to understand how we can create these models to overcome the challenges that we see in. And I applaud our family who are opening the vegan restaurant. I applaud our family, which I'm on the team of Yahweh Virtual University, who we are collaborating, we're cooperating one with another to meet a need. Our family with Yisrael Edutainment and Urban Dream, who we are actually cooperating and collaborating together. And it's so many more of us out there. And so I'm just naming these because this is the work, and it's learning how to be collective.
Well, and it goes without saying that we are diligently working on the Yahweh Nation Building Institute to bring all of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding together. People who know how to make vegan food the most delicious food in the world will be, we will have sponsored seminars and workshops to teach all our people how to, reproduce those things, how to, we can have good vegan food wherever our family is. And so the Nation of Yahweh's Nation Building Institute will be a hub of knowledge so that we can consolidate and pool all the resources that we have. And then we can begin to structure different cooperatives that service a national audience, as opposed to, a national clientele where we busing and shipping and trucking foods and goods and services all over the country. So we don't have to be in one city to make this happen. The Most Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh demonstrated having a network of temples all across the country. Mm-hmm. So that was a networking situation for commerce and business. And that was the demonstration. Now it's time for us to put what he established into practical application in our lives. Praise Yahweh. We do have another call.
We do have a caller with their line unmuted. Boca Tov, you are now live on Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom. Boca Tov. This brother Seth from Miami, Florida. Yes, I love being a vegan, and as soon as we can come up with a recipe, for a vegan lamb chops. I love the lamb chops. And when Yahweh appeared to Abraham, the angels came to Abraham, and Abraham asked Yahweh to sit down up under this tree while I go fetch you something to eat. So Abraham ran, they got a calf, and they got butter and milk, and they sat down and ate. And when we get a recipe for lamb chops, I'll be on board. Because I love the lamb chops. But anyway, we have to keep on eating right, doing right, communicating with each other, reaching out and touching each other, and just showing love in order to exist in this city. In order to exist in this city of Yahweh, we must have love for one another and show love and continue to love and to continue to build and spread Yahweh Ben Yahweh works amongst the people. Make known his deeds among the people. And out there, when Robert Rozier had murdered those two brothers out there in Opelika, one of those brothers was one of my football coach. He was one of my football coaches from back in the days. So the whole neighborhood is up in the roar against Yahweh because they killed one of our good brothers, this creep nigger that came to Yahweh, executed one of our neighbors. And I go out to the neighborhood and I got with the family because I know the family. We all grew up in the same neighborhood. So I go out there to the neighborhood and let them know that that was a wolf in sheep clothing that was there. We are the true Yahwehs. And I'm obligated, and I have a plumbing business. And I told the family, anything that you need with plumbing, I'm there for you. Whatever you need, if I got it, you got it. Just to show love, because that was my partner. That was my football coach. And if I was on that side at that time before Robert Roselle executed those brothers, I would have stopped all that. Most likely. But Yahweh does things for his own pleasure. But it's for us to continue to show love and to set the example for people out there in the world. Because they looking for that. They don't have, our people don't have any directions. Any directions. We have to get our children, our grandchildren. I have 17 grandchildren with 13 grandsons, 4 granddaughters. And I take them out with me doing plumbing work whenever I can. Whenever I can, I get 1 or 2 here, 1 or 2 there, and bring them up and nurture them into ethics, having work ethics. You have to be on time. You have to communicate. All these things we have to inculcate into our children's mind, into the minds of the people that we deal with each and every day, because we're special people. We are a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, a holy nation, a peculiar people. And we are Yahweh's selective few that he chose. And we must always promote that amongst the people. Or whosoever will, let him come. Whosoever receives. And I meet people all over the city. And I talk like this to every one of them. If I get an ear, I'm testifying. Letting them know about Yahweh Ben Yahweh works, his good works. That I met somebody. I'm not smart. I'm just a good repeater. So, all right, family, I love you. I love Sister Tamar, Dr. Lou. And let's continue without reaching out to our people, promoting moral behavior.
Yes, sir,
And
brother.
we love you too, brother.
That was
Praise
a powerful
Yahweh.
testimony. I praise Yahweh for causing you to give that powerful testimony, because the world need to know from people who was actually there on the ground, the real situation. Government propaganda is one of the things that Satan used in propaganda, period. Is propaganda can go back to lies about something that people do to cause people not to come around, not to, I don't know about them people. I heard all kinds of lies about them. I just think I'll stay away. I don't know if those lies are true or not. But see, when people who were there testify and give their testimonies and understand the truth that Yahweh is what we see Yahweh teaching, that's who Yahweh Ben Yahweh is. There's no secret Yahweh Ben Yahweh that's not righteous. This ain't like all these other fake pastors and all these mega church leaders and all these quote unquote cult leaders, that they like to throw in the same. And no, you judge a man by his works. And the resurrection of a people is Yahweh Ben Yahweh's works. He said, greater works we shall do. That's why we're here today, continuing his works openly. We're not hiding. There's nothing hidden about what we're doing. There's no hidden inner circle that, the government is interested in. We're just doing good works. He's always been against good. Satan has always been against good works. That's why we ask the family to pool resources and to give, because the government and the devil is not going to finance righteousness. He's not going to finance good things. He's not going to finance a community that you can live in that has clean water. We see that in all these cities that have fluoride in the water. He's not going to finance a city that has clean air. We see that with the chemical trails that they put spraying all in the air. And we can go on. But
in Jackson, Mississippi, still having, in Flint, still having issues with water. So
it clean water to drink.
It's not that it's a fairy tale. These are real things. This is reality. These aren't stories or propaganda. People are living these realities that the city's water is unclean or they don't have it at all.
Don't you want to move into New Jerusalem?
I want to move into New Jerusalem.
Where when you read the scriptures about the sapphire and the jewels and the gold and the way Yahweh built it, think about the technology that Yahweh put in it. It is a proven fact that before the flood, there was greater technology than there is today, because things that was built before the flood, they can't build today. And so you understand that when the Titanic, which they tried to build it like the Ark, sank when his first maiden voyage, let you know that the technology of today is inferior to the technology that even we've had on this planet in the past, and don't even think about the technology that Yahweh possessed. There's no new thing under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So think about when we were Adam, the Adamic people.
Mm-hmm.
When we were Adam, what technology did we have before we were kicked out of the garden? We lived hundreds of thousands of years. There was no death. And it's going right back to it. But we are at the end of this episode. So Sister Mom will pass it for any final thought.
I think the final thought is ethics. We have to return to a practice of ethical and moral behavior. And ethical and moral behavior calls for us to be sufficiently skilled and knowledgeable and have greater understanding. And we have the oversight to understand when things are evil and wicked. So praise Yahweh for his insights to give us that overstanding, as they say in Rastas.
That overstanding. Yeah, I understand. That
clarity.
Absolutely. And I would like to invite all of the family to, I'm doing a series on our true culture. Our true culture is ethics, is morality, is keeping the law, statutes, judgments, and commandments of Yahweh, and exhibiting the 27 moral attributes of Yahweh. That's our true culture. And so I'm doing a series, and I invite the family to join me on TikTok and, our YouTube channel and places like that. Let's blow some of this social media up for righteousness. They got all kinds of immorality and wickedness and jiggling and dancing and all kinds of stuff going on social media. But Yahweh is also present. I am making sure that the message of Yahweh is present. So join me and help blow my TikTok channel up that talks about Yahweh, to blow our YouTube channel up that talks about Yahweh, and all the social media of all the people who are promoting righteousness. Praise Yahweh. That's my final thoughts. That brings us to the end of this episode of The Unfolding Light. Please join us next week for another episode of The Unfolding Light. And now, if everybody will stand and face the east with outstretched hand, as we close out this episode with a prayer, the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Tefillah. Avenu Shabbat Shemayim, Yikadesh Shemeaka, Tavo Malkuteraka, Yad Zerizonka. King Vashamayim came by Aretz, et Lekum Kukenu, Tain Lanu Hayom, Uslat Lanu, All Kartienu, Kimosa Sol King, Gamanatnu, Lakotiem Lanu, Veal Tevienu, Lade Nisayom, King called Senu, Min Hara, Kilaka, Hamamlaha, Veha Givera, Veha Tefieret, Leolame, Olamin Selah. We thank thee, O Yahweh, O living and eternal King, who has so mercifully restored our souls within us. So let everything that has breath praise Yahweh. And always remember, Yahweh loves you, Yahweh Ben Yahweh loves you, And so does the nation of Yahweh. Shabbat Shalom, family.
Thank you for joining the Unfolding Light presented by the Nation of Yahweh. If you have any comments or questions, please email us at info@thenationofyhwh.com. Follow us online at thenationofyahweh.com, theunfoldinglight.com, and at yahwehbenyahweh.biz. Get social with us. Follow the Nation of Yahweh on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, do remember to pay Yahweh and yourselves first and don't touch it, as instructed by the Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. You can send your tithes, donations, and offerings to the Nation of Yahweh at P.O. Box 555-115, Orlando, Florida 32855. And be blessed continually, according to Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. Praise Yahweh. Shalom, shalom.
Stop your crying. Stop your crying. It's gonna be alright. Stop your lying, children. It's gonna be alright. Don't wanna be alright. Stop worrying. That's this wording going on. It's gonna be alright, man. Cause you see, Yahweh Ben Yahweh is here now. Well, he's a man with a wonderful, wonderful life. You'll be praying all night long. Well, cause you see, you don't know if you're going to get up in the morning now and lose your home. Well, cause you see, I got all these children going on now, and I don't want them to starve. And that's why you got to go and bow down to somebody who ain't God. A man on your job. Well, yeah. The mighty God is here now. The Son. I'm talking about the Son, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. So you can quit all this foolishness and going on, but we living in a brand new day. Well, stop your moaning. It's gonna be alright. Stop your groaning, children. It's gonna be alright. Stop your crying. You don't have to have no more kids. Cause you see, Yahweh when Yahweh came, right about on this time, it's short now years. Well, stop your begging. It's time to do your part. And quit being lazy, my children. That it's time to stop. Stop doing what you want to do. Stop doing the things you supposed to do. Get up off of your knees and be so good. Study real hard because he said you know you could. Well, be the way he wants you to be because he said he know you can. He want all the sisters to join together and be woman and all the brothers to be man. And I know that everything is gonna be alright. Well, early in the morning, it's gonna be alright. I wanna tell you that sometimes you get lonely in the evening time. Just call his name and it'll be alright. Well, just sing.
Charity, generosity, munificence.